sometimes for all the good that is intended from public service messages and public service education, sometimes the message can just get lost. And I just wanted to ask you, what would you like to say to family caregivers about smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors in the home?
Sure. And I have, unfortunately, significant significant experience in that, where people have died, and it's a tragedy. But what if it's possible? What makes it worse is when it could be prevented. So the simple act, and fire service has said this for years, and fire safety and public safety councils have said about checking your alarm. So as a caregiver for the client, maybe family members, maybe the client isn't able to check the smoke alarms because they're up high and you don't want them getting on a ladder. But there's little devices to press the test. There's things you can do on a monthly basis. Of course, we all know, change the clocks, change your batteries. But being aware of, working smoke detectors, having a fire safety plan, escape, as we talked about earlier, and good housekeeping practices like dish towels, and we all do it, hanging off the stove, right, to dry. But when you're cooking, that and oil or something spills, that could be problematic, right? And so those preventative measures go such a long way. At the end of the day, we can't prevent all unfortunate circumstances, but certainly we can mitigate the results of them. Sometimes pots overflow. Sometimes, it's happened to me in my own house. Doesn't take much, right? But I know, and it'd be pretty bad if I didn't follow our own fire rules, or best practices. If I didn't have a lid to put on the frying pan, or if I didn't have an extinguisher there, or if I didn't monitor, if I walked away and didn't monitor the stove, right, the situation would have been far worse. So again, and that is a great role-playing thing too. If there was a pot on the stove that caught on fire, what would you do? And by walking through that, you might notice, hey, we're always got dish towels on maybe that's not the best place, or there's usually storage above the oven, the stove. And if that's full of paper products and things that easily get heated and can burn, maybe that's not the best place for them. I used to tell, when I was a fire chief, young firefighters, that we do not need to be in the business of being heroes. We need to be in the business of making heroes. And that little girl or boy who goes home and says, Mom and Dad, did we check our smoke alarm? Or do we have a fire safety plan? Or that caregiver that does that for the client or talks about the family with that and has some knowledge. When the unthinkable happens, and hopefully it doesn't, but bad things do happen. And that mitigates or actually prevents death, injury, or, loss of property. Because, there's not tea towels on the stove that are going to catch fire. The family and the elderly, they have a safe and reasonably fast way out of the interior of the house if it was a fire. The caregiver who's able to assess the scene and get information and collect information so that when the paramedics or fire department or police get there, they're able to pass on that excellent, helpful information. That really is the proactive positives about preventing and mitigating, as opposed to response. And here's another thing I used to say to young firefighters: you didn't cause the problem. Don't add to the problem. And by that, and the discussion around that is that, when you get there, take that 2 or 3 deep breaths, assess the situation, look where you can improve it. Don't be worried about making it worse, because in a case of a heart attack, or, somebody's not breathing, their heart's not, you can't make it worse. Unfortunately, they're deceased. So you need to use your ability and everything you've trained for and everything you've thought about and practiced, same as caregivers, and apply that to try and make the situation better.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to take our quick survey to give us your feedback. Find the link in the video description below.